So take Senator Roberts from Kansas, a man who loves him some Monsanto. Let's just say also that he's not really a man open to a change of heart. To him, I'm just a guy from what he thinks is a hippie grocery store in the People's Republic of Boulder. But the thing is, our overall ag policy is actually so broken that as long as you don't tell them you're really talking about biotech and GMO policy, you can open their ears and they get ready to listen. So here's how I frame agricultural issues in ways that happen to be true and also make sense to everyone at the table. First, I pose this scenario. Yeah, I can be a sneaky devil. I pose this scenario. I ask the people in the room, policy wonks, 20, 30, 40 something, ag experts, office holders. Imagine it's 1993, 20 years ago. Imagine you were charged with guiding U.S. agricultural policy for the next 20 years until now. You've just brought in all your best and brightest minds to a big conference room and you're about to set to work. Then someone, you're not sure who, back in the corner in a gray suit, wearing dark glasses, raises her hand and proposes a 10-point plan for agriculture for the next 20 years. Hey, let's give ownership of 450 out of 500 independent seed development companies to just 5 chemical companies. Let's give near complete control over poultry and livestock processing to just 3 international conglomerates. Let's eliminate 390 out of 402 unique varieties of commodity corn and instead develop, improve, and grow only 12 varieties across the country. Let's have those 5 chemical companies stop developing any improved variety of corn that they don't own the patent to. Hey, let's allow the chemical companies to buy patents on naturally developed traits like drought tolerance, which is extraordinarily important, and manipulate the system so that farmers can only get those important traits if they're buying them within genetically modified seeds that are owned by the chemical companies. Let's promote higher yields and lower prices through vast monoculture and deal with whatever consequences to the country later. Let's create an agriculture system completely dependent on petrochemical fertilizers, insecticides, herbicides. Let's allow genetically modified varieties to contaminate and eliminate naturally developed plant foods. So eventually, nothing will remain organic. Let's eliminate public funding for agricultural research, allowing private companies like Monsanto to control the research agenda and control access to the results, good or bad, through patent claims, suppression, censorship, and intimidation. And the coup de grace. That's it.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Let's, as a nation, abandon the support for markets for non-GMO food by making it impossible to identify non-GMO food within the supply chain from seed to table. You get the idea. So somewhere in the last 20 years, this dark-suited, dark-glassed man, or could have been a woman, has successfully put all that in place. Because I challenge these room of policy wonks who are driving your policy. Would anyone in this meeting in 1993 have agreed that this was a good plan for American agriculture? They don't say no, but they sure have their tail between their legs. Would anyone now in 2013 think that this is a good plan to continue for American agriculture? No. Shareholders would. Thank you. They're not in the meeting. But the heads in these conference rooms do start nodding as they confront the painful truth that on their watch in the last 20 years, American agriculture has been crippled on their watch If any of them had been asked to judge this agenda 20 years ago, not one of them would have agreed to it. So this mysterious and devious master plan for agriculture has come true. Every single one of these changes has been put in place through laws, regulations, court rulings, intimidation, and all just within the last 20 years. So my point to my wonky Washington friends is that we desperately need to start re-diversifying our agriculture and protecting our legacy in agriculture. We need to make sure our farmers have all the tools and options they need to survive and thrive. In the long term, in the face of droughts, petroleum shortage, crop blights, pesticide tolerance, your consumer preferences, and international trade demands. All of the above. GMO monoculture systems, where farmers only plant one variety of crop year after year, clearly damage the ecosystem and threaten human and animal health. You'll hear a lot more about these topics from expert speakers later in the rally. Whatever short-term benefits there are from using GMO industrial agriculture systems, it is, mark my words, a national disaster unfolding in not so slow motion for our planet.
Ow!
Our farms, it's a disaster for our planet, our farms, our health. And the worst part is that Monsanto is making its money while we taxpayers are left to pay dearly again to clean up Monsanto's mess, just like we did with Agent Orange, PCBs, and their other chemicals. So where do we stand right now? We have a political establishment that is bought into the hype of GMO food and big agriculture. We also have tens of thousands of American farmers who feel their only best choice is to deploy GMO technology on their farms. And that's the tragedy. But that's the reality we're facing. A smart farmer making rational economic decisions on which the livelihood of her family depends will most likely choose to plant GMO commodity crops. Why? Because there's a guaranteed market at a guaranteed price, and she can work more land at a lower cost in less time. Plus, there are big markets always ready to buy. Supported feedlots, ethanol plants, and the processed food industry. So make no mistake, GMO agriculture still looks like a miracle technology to many people, including politicians, bureaucrats in Washington, your own Colorado Department of Agriculture, John Salazar, your commissioner, the GMO farmer, and the majority of farmers in Colorado. So unless we start there, speaking to them, understanding how they think and not just what we think or what we want, we don't really stand a chance of changing anyone's mind.
Use your voice!
So all of us here today, and sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we've chosen to engage in an epic battle where the odds are completely stacked against us. But we're Rockies baseball fans, so there's no surprise. Those feedlots and ethanol plants in the processed food industry can write some mighty big checks to silence your voice. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to paint a hopeful way forward for everyone today. I'm going to try to tell you how to talk to your leaders. First, tell them that you aren't anti-farmer, because that's what they want to believe. You understand that farmers are working within the range of tools that have been given in the economic context they're working in, and in that case, GMO can seem like the best choice. But then point out, kindly, it just isn't working. Tell them, I'm pro-farmer, but the current system has depleted our groundwater so badly that we have literally sunk our most productive farmlands. I'm pro-farmer, but we have over-applied and misused herbicides to create weeds that we can't kill. I'm pro-farmer, but in our current system, we have over-applied and misused insecticides to create new generations of pests immune to our best defenses. Tell them I'm pro-farmer, but in our current system, we have overused petrochemical fertilizers so that 10,000 square miles of the Gulf of Mexico are now known as the oxygen-deprived dead zone. I'm pro-farmer, we have overused antibiotics on our farms to the point that MRSA superbugs now gravely and permanently threaten human health. This way, they start to listen. And you do need to tell them you aren't anti-biotech. Sometimes biotech, in its broadest form, can be really important and really support good farming. But you have to speak their language. Tell them when it comes to technology, GMO is actually hurting the American farmer, and the whole concept of America is the breadbasket of the world. Tell them this, a quick story. In Michigan last summer, 2 whole counties of corn, we're talking thousands of acres, blew down in a thunderstorm. The farmers there had been encouraged to plant GMO corn every year for a decade. They had been promised by Monsanto's biotech scientists that they had finally beaten Mother Nature. But then comes a single thunderstorm and thousands of acres of corn are lost, dead on the ground. When they inspected that corn, the farmers saw the stalks had no roots left. The Michigan rootworms had evolved their way around the GMO Bt pesticide that Monsanto genetically engineered to reside inside the corn. And the roots of that Bt corn have become nothing more than a nice, yummy smorgasbord for the rootworms. They leisurely ate away at the roots of 2 counties of corn, and these were not the only counties until the stalk could not hold itself up. It took one storm for those counties of corn to be lost. Never before in the history of man has Mother Nature so slapped mankind's pride down, so quickly, so dead flatly, and not even Monsanto's billions can stop her. And a second story. Tell your leaders about Dr. Don Huber, an esteemed crop scientist from Purdue University. I had dinner with him and he described to me standing in Indiana one afternoon watching a squadron of small airplanes spraying fungicide on GMO corn to control an outbreak of blight. 60 years, he says, 60 years. I have studied crop disease and I've never seen blight